This is how I made a California Kingsnake a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot bioactive enclosure. Lay the 120-gallon tank on its back. Use the caulk gun to open up your tube of silicone. I'm using GE1 brand, which when cured properly is 100% aquarium safe. If you have a different brand you prefer, go ahead and use that one. This is just to provide some extra texture for the foam to adhere to. The first can of foam I'm using is the black multi-purpose Great Stuff foam. After thoroughly shaking the can, begin adding foam below where you wanted the cork placed. Leave the exposed areas for last. You only have 5 to 10 minutes before the foam starts curing. This allows you the maximum amount of time to work on your background. Somehow I managed to only use 2 cans of foam. While the background is still wet and expanding, sprinkle some sphagnum moss down. Then add a thick layer of completely dried coconut fiber. Finish by gently pressing down on the substrate with a glove. Leave it overnight to dry. In the morning, lift it up and tap off all the excess material. With the background complete, let's begin adding the substrate layers. For the drainage layer, I'm using hardwood charcoal and pumice. Place the substrate mesh barrier on top, then start adding your bioactive substrate. We mix and use our own substrate. If you'd like to see our recipe, check out our past videos. For the hardscape, I'm using cork bark and sandblasted manzanita. The goal here is to not only look good, but to create as many usable spaces in the enclosure as possible. To provide more depth, add additional substrate in the back of the enclosure. Before beginning to plant, make sure to thoroughly soak the enclosure. This is where everything comes to life. The first plants to add are called Dracaena. They provide a lot of nice height and are incredibly hardy. ZZ plants? Nearly impossible to unalive. A different variety of Dracaena. You really can't go wrong with golden pothos. Seed pods are always a nice addition. If you're not sure what plants to pick, try to focus on choosing different colors, shapes, and textures. This will provide the most visual interest. On top of the ones previously mentioned, I also added some Begonia rex, Hoya, Tillandsia, and some Campos philodendron. The plants might be the prettiest, but the real shining stars of bioactive enclosures are your cleanup crew. Springtails, which break down mold, and isopods, which break down decaying plant matter and animal waste. And look at them, roly-polies are adorable. Lastly, add a thick layer of leaf litter. I'm using magnolia and oak leaves. I'm using a 36-inch T5 Arcadia 6% UVB, an Arcadia Jungle Dawn 34-inch LED, a zoom-in dimmable dome, and an Arcadia 50-watt halogen heat bulb. Before adding the snake, let the enclosure grow a month to let everything establish. Follow, share, and like for more.